bottom right in the blue in this Kungfu Cup semifinals for Team Liquid. It's Clem. And in the upper left in the red, the Protoss player from Korea. His name, of course, is herO. As we see them just checking to make sure that the server's all fine and dandy here in this first game of our series. But we're going to be good. And this actually is a pretty awesome matchup because we saw Creator on Monday night. He made this incredible run. He killed all the Korean players, and then he ran into Clem. Or he killed all the Korean Terrans, excuse me. And then he ran into Clem. And he just lost. Clem beat him in, granted it was a 3-game series, so we shouldn't say he just lost, but Clem played a style that was very different from how these Korean Terrans tend to play, and it beat him. It knocked him down. It caught him off guard. So now we get to see whether herO has something a little bit stronger in store for us. And when we talk about what Clem has been doing, we talk about how Clem's been playing. The thing that really should characterize it is the same thing that makes Reddit so mad. It's the Widow Mine. But importantly here, it's smart Widow Mines. It's not just, I'm building Widow Mines because I'm building Widow Mines. No, they were some reactive plays coming out of Clem, realizing that his opponent opened Templar Archives in a game, so he wasn't gonna, and without a robo, so he reactively, well, he got the armory a little bit faster, and then you don't have any detection. So as the Protoss player, you're kind of making your life a little harder just by default by doing that, which is not necessarily what you want to do, but anyway. We saw him go for Widow Mine drops and other things like that. But again, a little bit different, a little bit more committed. But in general, I'm not even know that the more I think about it, the more I consider those games that we cast, I don't even know, honestly, that is a setup where it was Clem doing cool things with Widow Mine, so much as Creator playing builds that were just really bad against, especially cloaked Widow Mines, as this Reaper will knock down the probe. So SCV should stay alive here, and the important thing that we see out of this is that, yes, this SCV is still building something that's very low. It's not going to go and build the command center. Killing that SCV will not delay the command center, which is a big deal as an adept thinks about running onto the other side of the map. It's, yes, an adept may kill, but it's going to delay the bunker briefly. It's not as big of a deal as delaying the command center, and by the time you waste damage, or by the time you kill that bunker, which, by the way, finishes faster so the SCV can hide inside of it, by the time you're done with that, the command center should be complete. So this adept considers doing something like that, but it's going to be safe. No SCVs go down, just small things for Clem. And honestly, if we're talking about small things, that what I would have loved to see Creator do is, instead of, well, really try to get 4 shots onto the SCV, instead 2 shots on both SCVs, and suddenly they're getting 1 shot by adepts on either side, or 2 shot by adepts on either side. And then you actually can go and you can delay that command center just a little bit instead of denying mining, as Clem is doing, or as herO is doing. So again, these are small things. I think that is something that Creator or herO could have done a little bit better. But even still, this adept is gonna get out. Very nice there, getting out on 2 HP. So it's not gonna be super useful for the rest of the game, but as it heals its shield, it's gonna be okay. And behind this, of course, looks like it's going to be Widow Mine drops coming out of Clem. We did see him yesterday playing around with Hellion and Marine drops and other bits of pressure that were not specifically Widow Mine drops. But in this game, it does seem like it's just going to be a Widow Mine drop. He doesn't have the Marine count to really join. The Hellion is very dead, and it's only one of them anyways. Although I guess it was repaired, but even still, the Hellion, it's only a single Hellion. That doesn't, it takes 3 shots to kill an SCV or to kill a probe. That doesn't seem all that useful. So the drop should be heading, there we go. Drop heading out post haste to Widow Mines. And the Oracle is, well, the hallucinated Oracle is not going to scout this. So herO is going to see, okay, that's a slower 2nd and 3rd barracks than I might otherwise see. He should know that this is a tech drop. That would be the assumption, again, just because of that timing on the 2nd and the 3rd barracks. But Hellion thinks about diving in here. Not going to happen. Stalkers, sentries, well prepared. But that also shows where technically the Stalkers are. So maybe the Widow Mine a little bit happier. But Blink is done. And the Widow Mine drop into the main base. Well, it was scouted by that pylon early on. So Clem, he thinks about it. But herO's doing such a nice job. herO's doing such a nice job on making sure that he's detection everywhere on the map, on the that he has vision pretty much everywhere where you could want to find vision. And that makes it really hard for Clem to go and find a drop in somewhere. Because hero's just going to go and he's going to put stalkers where he needs to. And he's going to play defensively because I believe this is a 2-gate opener. And I mean, he's got that third base done. He's probing up 3 stalkers on the way behind that. Forge on the way, no Robo-Bay. So he's just committing to a lot of units on the ground early and against what is a Raven opener. Which may have been something that Hero read off the fact that second and third barracks were delayed, by the way. Considering that this is a Raven opener, just getting a lot of Zealots, getting a lot of charge loss, getting +1 on them is really nice. And eventually he's going to transition, get into Robo-Bay fine. But the Ravens, you know, as I say that though, my comprehension of what a Raven is good for is, well, you know, it's really good to shut down Robo-Bay. It's really good to shut down Colossus for that one big Terran push, but Clem didn't get Interference Matrix. That upgrade now is something that is optional. It's not a power you get by default. And if you go for that, if you decide that you want to go for Interference Matrix, it's really powerful against a bunch of Colossus, certainly. But if you don't go for it, if you decide to not opt for that, then the Raven, all that it does is it drops an auto turret, it drops an anti-armor missile. And those are powerful things, but the key thing here is the Raven is just taking a lot of damage, more stalker shots. Clem messed up the Raven control. What I was going to say is that, okay, then the Raven can shred all the armor of your Zealots, and that actually can be somewhat decent against this type of push. But now drop into the main base as well. Clem is looking for the timing. Hero, he's got the pull-in time, but it's a little bit awkward. Shot goes down 7 probes. And yeah, he pulled, but it was just clumped up together a little bit slow. Didn't split back whatever probe was getting targeted by the Widowmine. And now 7 probes, they hit the deck here. Hero, he's still up 10. This is committed from Clem right now. And those force fields are going to be really nice. Widowmines are going to try to save what they, or kind of try to get as many Zealots as they can. And well, now the force fields are working against Clem here, or against Hero here, because the medevac saved so much. Even still, that was such a beautiful set of force fields and really has kept Hero alive. Yeah, Widowmines did a lot, and they did do more damage than you would expect. The sentry goes down as well. But of this fighting army, it's only 4 Marauders really that are going to live to tell the tale. Even the medevac should fall down if Hero decides to target it. But this Colossus is going to have to back up. Pathing, please. But now this is cool. Zealots on the right side as well. So now Hero got to surround. Widowmines are going to burr up once again. Big shots there on the Widowmines. And Hero thought he had some momentum. I think he absolutely did. But he's going to have to back off. He's going to have to go reset here. He's gonna have to go try again, but I'm still a pretty solid trade for Hero. I think the resources, I think on this resources lost plot, I think it says he traded about 3,000 resources better, which is wild. And I'm not sure I believe that, honestly, but that's, I think, what the overlay says. Unfortunately, I don't read Chinese. And generally, there's going to be a bar that has both sides where the damage was, well, how much value was gained. So I'm not totally sure how the WTL observer mod works, but anyway. But now more Colossus on the way. Warp Prism speed on the way as well. So really, Hero leaning into this aggressive style, into this ability to multitask all over the place. And really just start to tear Clem apart, because Clem is this Terran that loves to get aggressive. He is this Terran that will lean into you once he's on his 3 bases over and over again. Maybe get a 4th, as I don't think Hero's going to be able to keep this 4th base up, but Clem didn't see it, so Hero now had position, and this was not going to be that moment that I thought we were going to have where Clem just dives on the base immediately. Meanwhile, Hero tries to take a fight in the choke, and this is a great position for Warp Prisms, or not for Warp Prisms, for Colossus to fight into, as this Speed Prism's going to release some Zealots, but immediately died to the bike. So, a bit of a missed upgrade there, bit of a missed opportunity. And now Hero doesn't have reinforcement ability, not easily. But he still does have these Colossus, and Clem's setting up a big surround. He's got a massive surround here on this army on the north side, as our observer points out, and at his 3rd base as well. So he's going to get found out, though, and now Hero wants to take this fight. This is only half of Clem's army. Blinks forward, gets a medevac down. Still going to have to run away. Still not a great fight for Clem, but he is doing a good job of kiting. And this timing that Hero had, where he had +2 attack versus just +1 no armor, well, it's now done. Clem's gonna have +2 armor pretty quickly, or +1 armor pretty quickly, and it's not the same upgrades, but it's parity. It keeps everything alive a little bit longer. And now that the Viking count is getting pretty high, it's going to be disruptors on the way. Second forge. And the wild thing for me here is that herO has been able to get his 4th base up. That was really the most unexpected thing. I did not expect him to be able to get that 4th base up based on Clem's positioning. It felt like Clem was just going to dive on top and cancel it immediately. But he didn't. And now the 4th base is up. herO's on 76 probes. His economy's doing really nicely. The Widowmine drop's going to get found out by the Stalker here. And, well, herO should know to blink out over. Yeah, he's going to knock that one down. There's one more here, but again, should be able to chase it. And Clem's trying to take advantage of this right now, getting on top of the army because the Widowmine's out of position. And this Viking position on the high ground. Well, luckily there's a shield battery, so the Colossus is going to stay alive. But that was a really nice Viking position. That was... I mean, that's an easy way to go lose your Colossus. So onto the high ground now. Disruptors are going to try to zone. They're going to get a Widowmine. That's something. And Clem's going to have to back up. Decent disruptor shot to start, though. And this will force him back. But now I think all 4 shots have gone out. And Clem, like a Western duelist, counting the shots on the revolver, should know for the moment that his opponent doesn't have those bullets in the chamber. And the disruptors, well, they continue to find value. So now into the natural, Widowmine is going to think about going for a drop. But there's cannons. Not really worth it. Clem thinks about it, maybe trying to get the distraction once again. Widowmine's going to go off. herO is not splitting off. Shot will fall. And that's 6 more dead probes. And it puts herO now at a worker deficit. He had 76. Now he's got 70. And Clem does have that 4th base on the way. But it's so hard for herO to fight into this with the amount of ghosts that exist. With the Vikings as well, it's a hard fight to take unless the disruptor shots are really nice. So herO's just going to sit here in the middle of the map. He's going to continue to posture, maybe try to fight part of the army. And that's always going to be really nice. The Vikings and the Ghosts were not part of that army that herO found. And now he's going to opt into the fight here. But the Widowmines, well, they're not going to go off. But the Ghost EMPs are really nice. Even still, somehow, the Viking count's still staying alive despite the EMPs and despite the Vikings running away, shelling away. herO is still keeping these Colossus alive. It's 13 minutes in, and our Colossus count has not diminished in the slightest, which is just crazy. It's absolutely wild. And now herO thinks about moving forward. He actually blink stalks to the left just to make sure that he can get the Vikings, that he can cut things off at the pass. Disruptors are going to try to find what they can. Finally, these Colossus should go down, but the Disruptors are going to have to make beautiful shots. And the first shots are okay, but they're not good enough. And now Clem's flooding down the ramp here, splitting away against those glowing balls of death. And now the Disruptors, they're going to start to get targeted down. The Colossus have already fallen. Zealot's looking for the re-engage here, but again, there's not a lot of tech anymore. But this ground units, this ground army out of herO with the 2 upgrade lead that he has, and actually he's doing pretty nicely. The bio's pretty overstimmed as well. And this is how we saw Creator beat Clem yesterday. It wasn't really about the tech units. They softened things up, but it was 26 Stalkers warping in over and over again by building a concave, really making it impossible for Clem to fight against gateway units because they reinforce so quickly. But this Widowmine count is a bit of a problem. The shots are going to go down. All the Zealots, if they're not dead, they're dying. They're so soft here, but now Stalkers are going to try to knock down this base. I'd love to see what's happening on the base. It looks like just a couple SCVs all fell down. And now, well, the disruptor count heavily diminished here. Reinforcements of Clem starting to join the fray. And that scary moment where Clem's army was mostly in the reinforcing lines and most of the army on the ground was very low. Well, we're kind of done with that now. And Clem, his army is much better than it was. So 17 Zealots, 2 Disruptor fell down for really just a bunch of bio. And now with the 5th base on the way for both sides, EMPs again on this army. herO's just fishing for that disruptor shot. If he can get one big shot center mass, which honestly at this point, the way Clem's playing feels very unlikely. But if he can get that one shot, he's going to be in a great spot. He's still going to be pretty happy. As a Widowmine shot, hey, well split. This time it's managed well, but there's no cannon, there's no shield battery. Nothing defensive, really. Shield battery doesn't really matter, but there's no cannon, so these Widowmines should get a second shot off. In fact, there was no pylon, so you couldn't even drop a cannon down. And again, herO just continues to lose disruptors here, which is not what you want to see. As I guess he's going to try to run an observer over, but I don't think it gets there in time. These Bo3 mines are going to shoot again, and shoot they will. 8 probes go down. Now we're going to see a cannon go down, and Colossus popping out 2 at a time here. That's 8 more dead probes. herO, his economy's not really all that happy right now with Widow. Well, hey, that's going to be a dead ghost. It's always going to be really nice. And now holding the high ground again, Widow mines, they're going to go down to the disruptors, but again, disruptors, they're not getting center shot. They're not knocking the army down, and that's what you got to do. Now Clem's going to opt into a fight right now. Big concave coming on in, but it's actually not all that great, and the Colossus are really doing a nice job, but they shot the rocks. They shot the rocks, and now they're going down. Stalkers, though, they're going to blink on top of this army, and again, it's that setup where the gateway units, they seem to carry the day, even as the tech gets shut down here. And now herO on the attack, moving forward, looking for his shots as he can find them. He's got moves here. He's down in supply, absolutely, but he has the tempo. He's got the momentum. I don't know how much further he's going to be able to push in. Really, at this point, Clem should have stabilized. Of course, now, more disruptors are on the way, but that Colossus move didn't really help. Clem maintained his Viking count through the entire time, and now that Colossus is just dead, Clem continues to hold the high ground here. And it's so hard to fight. Yes, these swells of gateway units can absolutely work. And we saw that work in Creator the other day. But they have to win off momentum. And the moment the reinforcements arrive, the moment Clem's able to maintain his army supply, maintain his health, they're not all that great. Now Clem continues to chase down here. More disruptors are going to go down. Only 2 in this army right now. Stalkers, though, they're going to blink on top of things. And maybe, just maybe, herO is going to try to make this fight happen, but again, it's not good enough. And Widow mines, again, so annoying here. They're going to get pulled down. 2 probes dead. It should be 11. There we go. They're going to fall as well. And Clem now stims down the ramp, or thinks about it, but for the moment, it's going to back up. And again, those Widow mines, 11 probes carpet bombed right on the probe line. Makes life really hard for herO in this game as he tries to, again, establish a position, but hasn't really been able to trade well enough. And this is a game where he's lost 6 Colossus. He's lost, I didn't even see, but tons and tons of disruptors. The Widow mines now, they get a couple more. They will fall to the cannon, but even still, knocking that down is really, really nice. And now Clem stems on top of the base on the left side as well, this 5th base of herO, and it's not going to kill it yet. But it does knock pylons down, does knock the shield battery down, softens it up later on. And now, because herO's reeling here, Clem gets on top of the base on the north side, and this thing is dead. There is no savior. There is no salvation. He EMP'd the Nexus just to make sure that nothing, there will be no reinforcements here. Stalkers get on top of the Liberator, and herO will get a base. Will get that base out of Clem, but herO, for every single base he gets in this game, it seems like he's going to lose 2. That base on the left side as well. Clem knocks that down. 3-3 bio is just so powerful. And now solidly into the base trade, but herO doesn't want it. He doesn't want that smoke, not anymore. The disruptor shot is gonna be good, but Clem, he just needs to not lose too much here. He's gotten so much out of herO, and herO, he's got to do so much to bring this back. He's just gonna try to stick on this base, but that's not gonna work, so he will be forced to back up. And it seems like herO will force Clem back for the moment, and knocking down these medevacs is actually really nice. Although, as I say that, he got a couple. Clem still has 7. Still a beautiful medevac number, and really should be fine. So even that benefit that herO may have found, I mean, he's still gonna have to go all in right now. First, Widow mine doesn't get a lot, but there are 3 more where that came from, and it's gonna have to be a slow push out of herO. But he doesn't have that time, and Clem thinks about the surround. Thinks about diving on, and herO, he's just zoning him out for the moment. But as he wedges his way further into this map, it just gets scarier and scarier. Stalkers blink on top of the Vikings. It really is all about this Colossus, but the Viking is killing it anyways. And on the backside as well, here comes Clem from every single side on the surround, knocking things down. As long as the splits are good, this should be the game, and it will be. The disruptors are dead, the zealots as well. And yeah, 17 SCVs have died, and yes, Clem has to cut away for the moment. But look at the supply here, look at the army, look at the income. Clem is okay. herO is absolutely not. And in the upper left, in the blue, in this game number 2 of our series, his name for Team Liquid is Clem. And the bottom right, fighting long, fighting hard, but not doing quite enough Or Dragon Kite to Gaming. herO. We gotta make no mistake about it. herO played very well in that first game of our series. He fought hard. He had good counterattacks. He took some decent engages, but sometimes you're playing a Terran, and the multitasking of the Terran is just too strong. It just knocks things down a little bit too much. Suddenly Clem goes, he attacks the 4th base, the 5th base, and into the 3rd base as well. And yeah, herO got 1 base, but there's a reason that the old axiom exists. Don't base trade a Terran. Yeah, you know, recall can be nice. Recall can be nice. But of course you can EP a Nexus down and then you can't recall on top of it. And even still, that's 1 mobility tool. The Terran at this point is going to have 7, 8, 9 medevacs. They can pick up their entire army and recall all over the place effectively. And that's just a little bit stronger. As the Cybercore positioning is a bit weird from herO. He's not trying to block the Reaper Cliff. He's not really giving himself much of a high ground wall. I think that's still probably an okay wall, but it's still a little weird. But he's going to get his Nexus on the low ground, and I think realistically this is not going to matter all that much. It's going to mean the Reaper gets into the main base, but other than that, it's not going to be that big of a deal. It's just kind of weird. So now Clem's got a bunker on the low ground. Of course, building a command center as well. We're not seeing... Well, that's it. Let me back that up a second, because saying we're not seeing the level of aggression we did in game 1 is not really fair. Because Clem did... It was a 1-1-1 out of Clem. It was a Reaper expand out of Clem in that first game, and he delayed his 2nd and 3rd barracks. He got his starport faster. He built the Widow Mines. He went from there. So, again, it's not fair to say that, oh, this is going to be less aggressive from Clem in game 2 than game 1. Simply put, we don't know yet. We can't really tell. The one thing... I think actually Clem's only on single gas. So that would be the one big tell. To say, hey, you know what? My opponent's only on 1 gas right now. That does mean that any sort of tech they're going to get is going to be delayed by quite a bit. But he is opening with that Cyclone. So safety against any sort of Stargate play. It gives you some powerful defensive tools, aggressive tools in the mid-game as well. But again, herO is not opening Stargate. herO has never really been, at least in recent memory, has never really been one of those Protoss players that is a fan of opening Stargate. At least not against Terran. Against Zergs, yeah, absolutely. He revolutionized the Stargate style against Zergs, but against Terrans, not really. Now Devil Assimilator coming down from herO as he rounds out his tech a little bit more. More gas, more gateways. This is 3-gate, by the way. This is not a 4th gateway. This is not 4-gate all-in like MaxPax loves to do on this matchup on this map. But instead it is, again, it's middle of the road. You get your 3rd base at a decent timing. You get your aggression. You get a little bit more than a 2-gate expand would do. But Clem is doing something kind of wild here. And we talked about how much aggression he would show. Well, he's proxying an armory. So this is going to be cloaked Widow Mine drops without any easy way for herO to scout this out. He won't have any idea. And yeah, Blink will be done eventually, so should be able to respond to that. But this Robo, well, the Robo should be out in time, as the Sentry is in position to scout the drop. It's not going to kill it, because, I mean, Sentries absolutely have a tickle beam, but it will do a little damage. And Stalker's here on position. herO trying to knock that down, and already this cloaked Widow Mine drop has been rebuffed. It's not finding the value that it would like to find. And Clem has committed to this. He did build an armory. He did proxy, and that is something that's on the map that is not finding the value that Clem really wants. So Clem's not going to be too happy about this. Not really. But maybe. I mean, the benefit of a build like this is that even if you don't get damage done at the start, even if you don't go and properly get a massive drop off, you can just keep it there. You can keep stalkers back at home, which makes it harder to defend as the Terran gets aggressive, and you can maybe get some damage later on. It actually can work out fairly nice. If you use this Reaper is trying to do something, but Sentry's got shields. It's gonna be okay. Not gonna snipe that Sentry down. Certainly not with stalker defense right there. But herO, Storm on the way. Storm drops. This is something that the man has been loving over the last, I don't know, month or so, 2 months. He's been going for these storm drops. He's been using them defensively. He's been using them aggressively. Warping in. Oh, I love this. Just, there we go. Feedback. Raven useless. It's a scout. Certainly knows that they're High Templar on the map right now, but the Raven, no energy. Big shutdown right there. So you're not going to get any value on the Raven harass. And again, herO, I don't think he's lost a single unit this game. Maybe he lost a scouting probe, but Clem has tried 2 avenues of attack right now. Cloaked Widowmine drops into the natural. That didn't find anything. Raven harass also didn't get anything whatsoever. And now he's going to try for another Cloaked Widowmine drop, I guess. But Storm is going to be done very quickly now. We should have a Warp Prism. Yeah, there's the Warp Prism. So he's going to pick up some of these High Templar. And this pressure coming out of herO. Ideally. Oh, that's pretty cool as well. So he fed back the medevac. So now the medevac, A, is no healing. But B, because it was at full HP from just sitting there for forever, it's very low. So it's not really going to be able to run out all that easily. And now thinking about a drop into the main base. herO, you've held all the defense thus far. Feedback goes down. Probes are going to have to get pulled out here. It's a little slow, though. Oh, splits are good from herO. Again, minimal damage. Minimal damage. And there we go. Feedback. Ah, very nice there. Feedback's the medevac as well. So again, 0 damage. We're going to see the observers show up. So these Widowmines go down. And at the end of things, it's going to be 4 Widowmines, a medevac. Finally, a little bit of damage getting done. But on the other side, seems like, was that storm drop? Looks like, yeah, it looks like a storm drop. herO finally made that happen. So he gets 4 SCVs, loses 6 probes. Not the end of the world. I mean, ideally, he would get more on the storm drop than 4 SCVs, but he has withstood 2 Widowmine drops. A Raven harass, everything else, and really only lost 6 probes. This has been a heavy commitment to harass from Clem, and he's gotten... It's not nothing, but he has not gotten a lot. That Marine had no business killing that adept, or killing that probe. And it's living so long, but yeah, it's been okay. Had no business getting that. Even still, probe will go down, and now 4 Zealots in the Warp Prism. Not the High Templar, the Storm Drop. He got 4. It was okay. But big harass coming out of herO right now. 4 Zealots in a Warp Prism, 6 Zealots on the ground. So he's going to let him, maybe even more than that. He's going to try to dive into the 3rd base and the main base at the same time. Widowmine soften things up a little bit, but there are tanks there, so it's not going to get much done, but it will pull the army away. And this drop in the main base from herO, it may get just a little bit more, because again, the army from Clem pulled away onto the right side. Clem not maybe paying attention as much as he should like, and that's 4 or 5 dead SCVs. And you can pick up and run away. Worst comes to worst, it's a single Viking, so this should be recallable if he decides to do that. But now running over the... Yeah, there's the recall. herO gets out, gets 5 SCVs, keeps the entire army of the Terran back home. And now we have Colossus entering the fray. Now we have a 4th base about halfway done. By the way, when I said Colossus, I meant 2. It's double Colossus. Joining the fight pretty quickly here. herO's army is rapidly becoming really strong, but it's not where it needs to be yet. We don't have extended thermal lance. We don't have that power yet. We don't have that range. So the storms are still pretty important. And with 4 ghosts on the field, and oh, storm drop 1 is really nice. It doesn't kill anything, but it does soften things up. And the key thing there as well, it was only a single High Templar in that War Prism, making sure that, as herO would inevitably kind of lose the War Prism, that's to be expected. He wasn't going to lose more than 1 High Templar, and he found the value. So much damage on that army, single-handedly really forcing this army back. But herO is supply blocked right now. It's not great, but he does have the Nexus complete, so that should clear him of that supply block now. 2 Colossus on the way at a time, so he's going to be at 4 Colossus. Extended thermal lance. The Viking count not all that heavy. There's a timing now as he thinks about... Okay, just gets the feedback. Thinks about the storm though. Oh, he's going to storm the Vikings as well. Very nice there. This army from herO right now is really hard for Clem to deal with. 4 Colossus, well, soon to be 4 Colossus Storms as well. Stalkers get on top of Clem. That's not his entire army on the north side. So we're going to see probably a base for a base get traded out here. 4th base goes down, and now herO on the other side trying to knock the 3rd base. Vikings dodge the Storms, get damage on the Colossus, and the Stalkers are just not fighting them. The Storms are actually doing a really nice job, though. The Vikings, their move commanded back home. These Colossus are okay. And herO should be able to get the base. But he may want to recall right back on home. Oh, and targets the pylon down at 99% on the Disruptor, so that's not going to get anything done either. Zealots now join the fray. The Colossus are pretty strong, but this natural of herO will go down. And herO doesn't kill his opponent's base. Honestly? Oh. 2 Colossus go down as well. I was going to say, honestly, I think if herO gets the natural and loses, or gets the 3rd and loses his own natural, I think he's okay. But he lost his own natural and didn't get the 3rd. So now he's supply blocked. His economy's horrible. And Clem, this fight, he's going to try to take on the other side. It's only against a single, actually, no, now it's against a single Colossus. And it's going to go down very quickly to this Viking count. No Disruptors in the game. Only 1 High Templar, but it doesn't have energy. And now herO, that was not the fight he wanted. He's lost all of his tech. I guess there's a Disruptor that Clem's going to be forced to pull back from, but it's only a single Disruptor right now. 4 are going to join the fray. But Clem, he's got all this bio. Zealots are going to have to fight. And you know what? Honestly, this gateway army from herO is a little scary. Clem's at 135 supply. He's not at this massive setup. As now units are going to try to get on the top of the nascent planetary. They're not going to find it. Disruptors will fall. Both of them die. Planetary getting kept alive for the longest time, but now it's going to have to get lifted up, running away. Stalkers, but they're not going to knock it down. Not at first. Repair is good for now. Now it's going to go down, but at the expense. herO, at what cost? That is so expensive. All the Zealots are going to go down. Stalkers as well here, and Clem tries to chase. He's still got 3 bases. He would have loved to keep the planetary alive, would have loved to turn it into a planetary. But that was such an expensive trade, and again, the Storm's going to be nice, but you can pick up Runaway in the medevacs, and the rest of the army of Clem, it continues to arrive. It continues to show up right now. Now he's got a concave. Now he's got this army that's so hard. Storms are going to be decent to start here. Zealot's getting on the backside. Disruptor is just going to whiff, get targeted down. Right side as well will fall. And Clem at this point, this has got to do it. This has got to be it. The Storms, I mean, Clem's bathing in them. He's washing. Scrubble-up-a-dub-dub, Clem. It's stormy weather, but, oh, it just washes you clean of your sins, of the sins of losing that base. But he gets so much more. And now 71 army supply to 40. Yeah, double Colossus on the way. That's nice. These Zealots will fall. Triple Colossus, excuse me, on the way. This Colossus will fall down. Disruptors are going to fall here as well. And yeah, maybe if herO gets up to 3 Colossus, maybe. Because the Viking count's not incredible, but it's starting to look pretty rough. It really is starting to look so painful for herO. I mean, that being said, Clem's on 53 SCVs. He's only on 3 bases, and well, he's lifting his main orbital over to his 4th base, so that's punishable. And now we're at 3 Colossus once again. So with force fields, with Disruptors to force the units to split, maybe there's a chance. I'm not saying it's a good one, but there is a possibility if the fight is perfect for herO. But it truly does have to be perfect. It's just going to be Guardian Shield. Force fields are not going to be able to. There's not going to be any consistency with them because, again, there are ghosts on the field. You can. Oh, okay. Clem just gets on top of the Disruptors. They're going to go down here as well. Zealots run forward. And again, the Colossus are doing a solid job, but there are so many Marauders in this army that do not care about the Colossus. They're going to knock them all down, and herO will fall. Clem moves on to the finals here of Kungfu Cup. He's going to face Solar in that engagement.